Today's show, the Dallas Mavericks may not have an option whether to tank or not. It's kind of already happening.
This is Cooper Flagg, and you're listening to Locked On Mavs.
Nick, that's a good question.
Good morning, Isaac. All these changes, I still got my dog, Dwight Powell.
Your daily Dallas Mavericks podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network.
Still can't leave
Your team every day.
I'm going to get a city like back.
And welcome. You are locked on to the Dallas Mavericks, your team every day. My name is Nick Angstadt, media member covering the Mavs for 10 years. Thanks for being in every day or making Locked On Mavs your first listen. And the Locked On Podcast Network, the #1 sports podcast network out there. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Right now, new customers can bet just $5. If your bet wins, you get $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. Head to FanDuel.com to get started. Joining me, as always, my co-host, media member covering the Mavs for 10 years, right alongside me, the Tank Titan, the One More Thing King. What you got for me, Isaac Harris?
Nick, have you ever seen the movie Fury? It's good.
Flurry?
Brad Pitt. No, Fury.
Fury.
Tank
Fury
movie.
Road?
Brad Pitt.
No.
All right, whatever. I just run the whole open. I thought you've seen it before, so I was gonna.
Yes,
talk about the movie.
I've seen that movie with the one with Brad Pitt, right? He's really mad the whole time.
Up. The little punk.
Today's episode.
Did you see the Moana live action?
I saw
trailer?
I saw the trailer. I'm not really into it. We're doing this again. We're doing this again.
I don't care. It's still fun.
Just give me Moana.
Just
Today's
give me-
episode-
Just give me Maui.
Today's episode, we're gonna get The Rock with that hair is gonna be something. That's gonna be a thing.
I want a fat head of it.
Today's episode, we're going to get into the Mavs. Should they tank? Should Anthony Davis play? Should Kyrie Irving play? How good will the Mavs be if Anthony Davis, when he does return? The Mavs have all these cap implications. They have draft implications, all kinds of different things with this whole situation this season, because now they find themselves in this spot right here. And let's start with this. The Dallas Mavericks are now 4-11. I keep tracking this because I want everyone to realize how dire this situation is and how deep the Mavericks.
This is your thing, your stat.
I'm
every
owning
game.
this stat. I'm owning the stat. Since 2000, 124 teams have started 4-11 or worse. How many of them do you think have made the playoffs, Isaac Harris?
I don't know. You could go to your Twitter.
I haven't posted this one yet.
I don't know. 20.
8 out of 124. And only one team in the West has ever done this since 2000. And that was the Pelicans 3 years ago. And they ended the season 36-46. And that was under Willie Green. The Mavs are in a dire situation right now. They're probably not going to dig themselves out of this already. That's the spot that we're in. I've seen a lot of people go, well, those teams didn't have Anthony Davis and Kyrie Irving ready to come back into the fold. Well, I don't know when Kyrie is coming back into the fold. We got that report that you and I both talked about in different episodes from Mark Spears that he is ahead of schedule. And that is a great report that if it was the playoffs, he could play right now. But I'm not trying to rush Kyrie Irving back. I've been very clear on that. Let's not try and rush him back in any way. And you're definitely not rushing him back to this team. Then with Anthony Davis, he's out for another week or so. And you don't know what he's going to look like when he comes back either. Then we've already seen Anthony Davis with this team for 5 games, and it did not look very good at all. And so the Mavs are in the situation where, should they tank? Should they shut him down? Should they not? They might not have to make a choice. They're tanking already.
Yeah, this is tough for me because historically I have been I have teetered on the anti-tank crowd because I do think, let me say this, I do think franchises who consistently tank over the years, it does have effect on players of development, just like the habits you're creating around your organization, your team, and all of that. But right now, you got to tank. I'm all in. I'm all aboard. I think it's the only viable path for you from this point on, and I expect them to.
What does tank look like to you for this team?
Yeah, no, I think, well, one, you haven't actively, if you want to say you threw Cooper Flagg out of point guard day one, but
they will say that.
You haven't actively shut down anyone, however you want to describe the AD situation right now, and you're still losing games and you're bad. So it's not like there's going to be, it's not like you got to really go to the drawing board here and be like, how are we going to lose games? Just do what you keep doing. But what does like tanking actually mean for this team is, one, you gotta hire a decision maker who's going to make these decisions. Preferably, hopefully, it's somebody who's done it before. And then you start canvassing the league for the vets on your team. Does that mean you're going to trade everybody on the team? No, it doesn't. But I think you realistically have the AD conversation. You realistically put the flyers out there on his market. And then, I mean, the two players I fully expect to not be on this team come trade deadline is Klay Thompson and D'Angelo Russell. I think both of them are gone for sure before the deadline, maybe even sooner.
Which is wild because D'Angelo Russell is one of the only point guards healthy on the roster right now, which tells you just how bad that has been. We talked about that yesterday on the post game where we're just like, this should be his opportunity. This should be his time. He should be like leading the charge for this Mavs team. They need somebody. They need that skill set so badly. And for it to be this bad and for him to not be filling that void is just, oof, that is tough.
Yeah, I still think a team would take him off the bench and stuff. Could be wrong on that, but yeah, the D'Lo experience has been weird. That's not the big conversation for our pod today, but it's been weird because it's like I thought he was going to like start and have this defined role, and then his role has just been super weird too. And then some nights it's like, crap, man, like we kind of need his scoring to even like be in this game, and he goes on these runs and stuff, but then he will dribble forever, and then he falls into the bad habits, and it's just like, all right, I don't know what's going on.
I don't know. I mean, I don't know what's going on with it. The decision making has been frustrating, and I expected there to be ups and downs when you get him, but for that to be as the downs are like weeks and the ups are like a game, you know, it's like that's what we've been in.
And one, you know, we could sit here and talk about a lot of different reasons why they should tank, and it's not as easy, you know, especially with players involved, professionals involved. I think you and Slightly, you know, talked about it. It's like, hey, it's not realistic just to look at Anthony Davis and Kyrie Irving and say, hey, you're just not going to play the rest of the year. They're in their 30s. Like, they're win now players. They are, they have been there, done that, won rings before, and all of the things with their careers and accolades. So looking at them at this point and saying, at where they're at in their career, especially like a Kyrie who's coming off, done all of this rehab from his injury, and wherever that time is that he's cleared, to look at him and say, well, we kind of want that draft pick, so you're not going to play. And it's like, dude, he's been, you know, if I'm him, it's like, dude, I've been busting my butt every single day to get back on the basketball court. And now it's like, well, now you're not going to play. So it's more about looking at those guys. It's the players of Anthony Davis, it's Klay Thompson, it's D'Angelo Russell. You're looking at a Daniel Gafford. And then I'll even take it up a notch of saying, if a team comes calling offering a first round pick for a Dereck Lively or a Max Christie, I think that's something to have the conversation on too.
You're ready to just sell the farm. You're ready to just like, but you just did yesterday that you shouldn't trade Kyrie. And to me, that's like that's the piece that is going to help you win the most out of maybe anybody on the roster. It's just such a tough situation the Mavs are in right now. Because if you're like, all right, they should tank. All right, well then you're telling Kyrie to sit for the rest of the year and telling him to not come back, right?
No, I think there's a path that, you know, Kyrie can come back and start playing. Maybe not coming back in January, but you're looking at, I mean, the whole time time I've been saying end of February 1st to March. Yeah. Mark Spears threw out an earlier time frame of like before the trade deadline. But if he comes back mid-February or end of February, early March, you don't have that much left of the season. All right. So, and you're going to be at the bottom of the West anyway. There's ways that you can bring him back, start building some chemistry with him and Cooper on the floor. For me, I'm looking at three players that I'm like, well, one, you can't trade PJ, and I love how PJ's playing, so I thank God you can't trade him right now.
Yeah.
But I'm just looking at like Cooper, Kyrie, and PJ and saying like, hey, these are the three guys I'm kind of like keeping that core intact and then stepping into kind of that next phase next season.
Man, I just don't know if I don't know what you're selling to Kyrie, especially if you're like, all right, we're going to trade AD. We're going to trade some of these other guys too. And
this is all pending on if he wants it. Like if you sat down with his camp and, I said that and there's some people's like, sit down with him. Who cares what he thinks? No, you do that. Like, that's just the spot you're in. You sit down with him and you're like, hey, what do you want? Like, do you want us to help get you somewhere? You're going to be ready for a playoff like a run. And do you want us to help get you to Houston or wherever it's at? And if so, then you do right by him. I mean, he's been incredible since he's been here, and you could get some good like value back for him. But for me personally, if he's willing to stay, and here's one of my points I want us to talk about in the next segment or two is this is kind of like your one shot to tank. I'm like against this consistent tanking over the years, even though you need as many bites at the apple to get this like superstars in your system in the draft in the high draft picks. But I think that's kind of like what you're telling Cooper and Kyrie right now of, hey, like we really can't tank.
This is 2023 all over again with getting Lively. Like literally,
it's like
the same season.
We can't tank from literally 2027 until our 2031 pick. So there's really no incentive for us the next like 4 seasons to be bad. So this is our one shot. This is our one time to do it. And now we're going to like be building everything starting next summer, or honestly before this deadline.
And that's what makes it so difficult of a decision for the Mavericks, because they cannot be bad next season. So how do you tank without?
I honestly don't think it's that difficult a decision. I think it's pretty easy. Like you got to do it. There's no other way around it.
But to sit the guys and then to like convince them to come back next year, because you have to be still viable and still like competitive, I think is the thing. We'll talk about that coming up next. How do they weave that, and how do they make both those things work? We'll talk about that coming up. Today's episode of Locked On Mavs brought to you by Skims. When Skims and out there making underwear for men, the reaction made perfect sense. People have been talking about Skims comfort for years. Most guys, though, stick to what they've been buying and wearing since college. I know I was doing that, and then Skims sent me a free pair of their underwear, and I've been buying Skims ever since, because it is the best underwear that I've ever worn, and it's the same fit, same waistbands that you have all the time, and you got to get something different. Try something different with Skims. My favorite pair is the box briefs. Gotta love that. Holds everything. The waistband.
I just got a new package in, baby.
Ooh, how are they feeling? How are they feeling?
They're feeling great, and we're about to have baby number 3. So if that tells you anything,
they're effective. Shop Skims Men's at skims.com. And when you place your order, choose podcast in the post-purchase survey and select our show from the drop-down to let you know that we sent you. That's Skims Men's, skims.com, and choose podcast in the post-survey to select our show from the drop-down to let we know that we sent you. Go check it out at skims.com. Also brought to you by our friends over at FanDuel. FanDuel Sportsbook has all kinds of props and odds you can get back into the game, and go check out all kinds of other NBA games besides the Mavericks, maybe, because I don't know if everybody's going for like putting money down on the Mavericks right now. They have a LeBron James tab, Isaac. I'm sure that you're very, very excited to hear about that.
It's my homepage.
LeBron's first game, which I guess is going on as we're recording this, to score 10 points minus 4,000. If you go for that and he continues his record, I guess that's what you're going for. But you can do all kinds of stuff with FanDuel. They have NFL stuff still going on as well. Right now, FanDuel is giving new customers $300 in bonus bets when your first $5 bet wins. So head to FanDuel.com, sign up, play your game with FanDuel, official sports betting partner of the NBA. Please gamble responsibly.
Shut it down! Let's go home!
Thanks for hanging out with us on Locked On Mavs, being part of the show, part of the Raccoon Squad. That's what we call our listeners, listening every day. We appreciate each and one of you for checking out the show. We've got bonus episodes all the time. Isaac and I are doing one more things. So go check out the feed wherever you're listening and watching this. We have bonus episodes. Check the link in the description, QR code, different ways to follow the show, all that. We're talking about if the Mavs should tank. Isaac believes the Mavs should tank. I think the Mavs should tank, but I think it's a lot harder said than done. Why is it easier to actually tank than what I'm making it?
Because Kyrie's not back yet. I think whenever the time that Kyrie comes back, the ship is already so much underwater that it's not going to affect very much.
Yeah, we are talking like 2 months from now. Like a lot is going to happen between now and then.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. Like if Kyrie comes back mid-February, you have, 8 weeks left of the season? Reminder for everyone, the trade deadline is not the halfway point of the season. We've said this forever.
It is if you make the finals. It's halfway.
So there's a way to bring Kyrie back, and it's, Kyrie's on a minute restriction, but he's still like playing. He still gets to come back and ease back into it. Or Kyrie's playing, 3/4. Oh, now we're seeing kids pulling Kyrie in the fourth quarter. Wonder why? It's stuff like that to where he's still playing. He's happy. He's fought to come back. He's building some chemistry with Cooper and everything with Kyrie. So I'm not worried about that. And the way with AD, you trade him, which I think they'll do. And you trade him pretty soon here coming up. And before Christmas, once that December 15th deadline starts. And the thing with AD, here's the thing with AD that everybody's been saying that I actually like go the opposite way on it, is you hear a lot of people saying right now with AD, well, they can't trade him until he comes back and plays a healthy stretch. He's got to get some weeks under him playing a healthy stretch to prove his value. No, I think it's the other way. I think his value will be hurt if he comes back and plays because one of the biggest things we've talked about that's been reported on is he didn't look in good shape. And you think he's been working on his excellent shape with the calf strain? You can't. So like, it's not like he's like been doing a ton of conditioning as he's working his way back to get healthier from a calf strain. So I swing the opposite direction of you let the hope of Anthony Davis of, hey, he's healthy. His team says he's healthy. He's ready to go. And we've just been and you let the hope sell him more than him get back on the floor and everybody signs off. And it's like, well, everybody signed off that he's fully healthy. Everybody's fully clear. And he doesn't look great on the floor. And then the other teams are like, well, crap. Like, this is what he is, quote, healthy. And so I swing the other direction on it. Like, I think they continue to hold him out, continue to shop around if they're going to do the trade and trade him before he gets back on the floor.
Man, I just think you're selling really low if you're just selling on hope, which I guess
you got to accept that. Like, you're not getting a super ton back for Anthony Davis at this point,
or even just a decent offer for Anthony Davis. But the other problem with all of this, and especially with Anthony Davis, is like the Mavs are going to be a second apron team if they don't do something next season. And that probably won't happen.
No.
They'll make some moves, but they've got to make something. But they have to make some moves between now and next season with some of these guys. And so, like, you're like, all right, well, we got to take advantage of a time when we can move on from Anthony Davis whenever we can, because it's not working, and you cannot pay in the luxury tax and in one of the aprons for this team, that guy, and all that.
They're not going to be a second apron team next year. I'm just saying
they're projected.
Yeah,
if they kept
not.
everybody and didn't do anything.
The first thing as Patrick Dumont that I'm telling the new GM, Dennis Lindsay, whoever it is I'm saying you can't look back at any of the past stuff. You can't look back at the past trades and how players and picks and everything got here. You're just about now and moving forward. And that's where the Anthony Davis stuff comes into play. You can't be attached to the Luka trade of saying, well, we're going to hold on to him until we get Luka type of value back, because everyone's going to do Luka was traded for, and then include the Anthony Davis return, the next trade back. You can't do that. People will still do it, but you got to tell the GM, you can't look back at that trade as the foundation for whatever you will get back from Anthony Davis right now. If you are going to build around the future, whatever you get back from Anthony Davis, the Anthony Davis like trade return, whether it's a young player, a flyer at a young player, whether it's cap relief, going into next offseason, whether it's, another draft pick or something like that, whatever that is that better than the mediocrity or the back and forth of the injuries with a $8 million price tag because that's the thing too, is like, you got the extension stuff now. And this is why I think the Anthony Davis trade, like before Christmas or before the end of the year, is the way to go with it, because the further you go closer to the deadline, the more everyone is thinking about, well, crap, now we're going to have to be the team that has to make the decision of extending him and giving him $200-something million extension over 4 years. Is he in shape right now? What's the status of him? So that's why I continuously go back to December 15th, to December 31st. I feel like that's like the best time frame. If like you're making an Anthony
Forget
Davis
your families. Trade Anthony Davis.
I just think that's the window, and you got to accept that deal's probably not going to be anywhere close to what you would love it to be.
Sadly, it's like the Porzingis trade all over again. In a way, right? Like we didn't like the trade they got back from that, but they split it into 2 contracts. They were more palatable. And with Anthony Davis, you mentioned all the things the Mavs are dealing with right now with Anthony Davis. You're looking at the pressure to win now if you have Anthony Davis on the roster. You're looking at the squeeze of the cap and the next extension coming. So you're like your second apron team next year. You have to potentially do an extension this summer and all that he's going to want and everything. And then the last thing is you're on this hamster wheel of just like constantly dealing with the injuries and coming back and ramping up, and then the injuries and then coming back and ramping up and all that. Like, would you rather just get out from under that? Would you rather just get out from under that and just be done with it and move on and move forward? Or would you rather try and hold out for the potential that Anthony Davis can show that he can be like a top 10 player that we think he can be when he's healthy? And
I think that's the question for the new GM is how low are you willing to go? Is how bad do you want to turn the page to the Cooper movement, to flexibility, to another asset, young asset? Like if they did trade him to Chicago for basically like expiring contracts, let's say no pick was involved, and it's Vooch, Herter, and Kobe White. Like that's going to piss off a lot of fans. But the new GM is going to be like, well, we get the rest of the season to try out Kobe White to see what we want to give him for an extension. We clear off $30 million off the books. We don't have to decide on the 4-year max contract extension for AD coming up this offseason. And we're kind of just wiping that off the books there. Like that's a tough sell, but that's what you almost have to do as a GM of coming in. Like you can't connect what you do with AD to the Luka Doncic trade. You just can't do it.
QuickBooks trade is what the Mavs are doing, like making a trade to make the books feel better, which I mean they may have to do. Coming up, how good would the Mavs actually be if Anthony Davis did return? Like let's say he does return. What would that look like? We'll talk about some other.
I also want to talk about some draft picks in the third segment too.
Why tanking is so important because of these draft picks coming. Today's episode of Locked On Mavs brought to you by Rippling. If you're a business owner, here's the truth. SaaS promised to make work easier, but did they? Now the average company is buried by hundreds of apps that slow down your teams, and simply they just don't work together like the Mavs on offense. That's not SaaS. That's sad. Software as a service. That's why you need Rippling. Rippling is the unified platform for global HR, payroll, IT, and finance, all in one place. They've helped millions of businesses replace a mess of disconnected tools with one system designed to give leaders clarity, speed, and control. You can do all kinds of things with Rippling. You have everything from onboarding to payroll to IT access. It runs automatically and perfectly in sync, whether you want to run your entire HR, IT, and finance operations as one, or just fill in the gaps in your software stack. Rippling can do it all. Right now, you can get 6 months free when you go to rippling.com/lockedonnba. So you can learn more at rippling.com/lockedonnba, rippling.com/lockedonnba. You get 6 months free.
Shut it down! Let's go home!
All right, Isaac. You want to talk about the draft? Because one of the things with tanking is like, you have to think that you're going to get something good and something worth going there, right? You don't just tank for like the 2024 draft where you're going, all right, the top pick is Ricochet. We're just getting like a solid rotation player. What is at the top of this draft, or what is near the top of this draft that is so worth the Mavericks doing all this, tanking all this, potentially having Kyrie ask them out, all the things that could come with it?
If you go back to the Luka stuff, remember back when Luka came in the league and he was so dang good. And we compared those rebuilds to other rebuilds, and like you look at like Atlanta, and everybody was talking about Atlanta's young core, and it's like, well, yeah, because they still sucked after Trey was drafted, and they got all these like different young players to kind of swing on to go around Trey. You never got that with Luka because he came in and was first team All-NBA his second year, and it was like you were off and rolling and everything, and you had to give up that first draft pick after Luka's rookie season. That's what you had to give up in that trade with the Hawks to move up, right? Like, so you didn't get that pick after the rookie season to try to get somebody to land around, to go with Luka. Well, now you have that chance with a Cooper Flagg to get that prospect after the rookie season, and you don't have all the other picks. So this is your one chance to where you own your pick. Literally, it goes to Charlotte the next year, and then you have the worst swap in the world in 2028, okay, with OKC, which the only reason you got that is because you got a first from OKC to send in the Daniel Gafford trade to get Daniel Gafford. And in return, they're like, hey, we'll give you this first to get Gafford, but you got to do a pick swap in 2028. Galaxy brain by Presti, because now Luka's not on the team. So, and then there's a swap after that. And then, you get the Lakers pick. The Lakers pick is literally the only thing that's like decent or could be decent through there, but still, like, it might still be in the 20s.
What are you betting on there?
So you get a chance, you get this one shot to add this other young, super good piece around Cooper Flagg. And you look at the top of the draft pick. The top of the draft. You get Kansas and Duke that's playing tonight, and Peterson's out with a hamstring injury. He's missed 3 straight games, but Darren Peterson's one of the best guard prospects I've ever seen. So if you have a chance, it feels like he's going to go 1 or 2. If you have a chance to pair Darren Peterson with Cooper Flagg, that's just unfair. So, yeah. And then after that is you got Dumont at BYU. He's a super long wing, and it feels like them two are I think they're gonna like separate themselves from the rest of the pack there. But like you get a chance at one of those two guys. Like there's a chance AJ is better than Cooper. All right. So there's a chance Peterson's better than Cooper. We're talking about them as like the A, and Cooper is like Robin. So, and you get a chance to pair 2 prospects like that together, or the chance at it. And then after that, you have Michael Brown. You're talking about Boozer if you want to go the big route. Boozer at Duke, North Carolina, Caleb Wilson. You got the Tennessee.
I was wondering
kid.
why you didn't put Boozer in with the other top guys, and I was like, oh yeah, he goes to Duke.
I like Boozer. It's just like, I think he's kind of like that tweener. He's like a 6'9", 4/5 big body. He's super skilled. He's going to be amazing. But then like you look at like Michael Brown at Louisville, dude can light it up. One of the quickest releases. So let's say you land at 6 and you still get Michael Brown. You get to pair Michael Brown with Cooper Flagg. Like that's your chance. Like, so I just think so many things have added up to this one moment that there's literally only one path to take, is to have this one shot at getting. You just walk through a mini rebuild with a superstar 7-8 years ago in Luka, and you're like, you had to like swing for these these trades like a Porzingis, or to try to find that running mate for Luka early on, because you didn't have that chance to draft one after his rookie season whenever you sucked. And now you get that one chance to do it. You got to do it.
And you look at some of the best teams in recent memory. The Thunder they got SG out of that trade, so they had that was their number 1. And then they got Jalen Williams because they were bad still. They got Chet because they were bad still. Some of those were one of those was a trade that they got, but they were still bad, so they were able to get a high pick. You look at the Celtics, and they were able to take advantage of a Nets trade and get Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum. Like, it's one of the only ways to really pair 2 guys together, unless you're one of these big markets that can attract some of these guys, or you can get somebody to like, pair up or pair together and like demand that they come to Dallas. And we've seen that hasn't worked out necessarily. Mavs have tried to plan powder or anything like that, trying to clear up cap space. And so this is the one way to really get somebody. And the odds are not like insanely against you anymore, because a lot of people are also saying, well, look at Indiana, look at Washington, look at Brooklyn, look at New Orleans. You're not going to catch those guys. That's probably true. You're probably not going to catch them. It's also a long season. We'll see. The Mavs have 4 wins, and some of those teams have 2. It's like that. Not a huge difference.
Mavs are about to say, hold my beer.
But here we go. The difference between the Pelicans the Brooklyn Nets right now at 4, they have a 13% chance at number 1. The Mavs at 7 in the tanking standings have an 8% chance. That's not that big. That's not that big of a difference in the in like the percent of chance. The Mavs have proven that, like, all right, well, a team can come out of nowhere and jump everybody in this draft lottery the way that it has been positioned now.
But that's the thing too, is like, even if you don't jump, yes, you could jump and have a generational type of pairing of a Peterson with Cooper or a DeBonza with Cooper. I mean, that's just insane. Or, even a Boozer, and that's your big with Cooper moving forward. But even if you land at like 6 or 7 and you get a Caleb Wilson or you get, a Michael Brown, like, these are amazing prospects. Like, the top of this draft is as advertised, but like these are good prospects. And it's not like, you're just kind of searching around like last draft and it's like, oh, Dimon, here we go. He's in, he can pass. And I lean obviously towards the backcourt type of prospects, I think, for Dallas, maybe because I'm just a little burned right now of just watching a team without good backcourt play. And I'm just sick and tired of it. But I just love, there's just too much stuff that's added up. And the fact that you can't do it consistently moving forward, that's where you can't sell me on that. You can't sell me on, well, we're just going to be bad for the next like 6 years. I hate that. And I get it. You can give me all the math and all the, hey, well, you just need all the first round picks. I get all of that. I will never sign up for that. But one season, you get one shot at it right now. And I think the selling point to Cooper, even to Kyrie, like, I think it all like makes sense in that. And it starts with, you got to get somebody in there that's going to call the shots, and you got to start shopping around your vets. And that's the route I expect them to take.
It worked in 2023 when the Mavs got Dereck Lively. They tanked at the end of that season. They got Kyrie. That season didn't go well. They didn't tank very long in that season. They just ended up being way worse than we thought. But you get the Dereck Lively pick, and that one worked out so well. You made the finals.
The AD situation is the only one out of the vets that I think could have a drastic negative effect, like moving forward, if you don't do anything about it. Like, let's say you can't, like, you don't find something that you like for Klay. Let's say the value just is like fully tanked on Klay, and you just keep him. Like, I don't expect them to trade him and work with him to go somewhere, but that's not going to like kill you this summer because you have Klay on your books for $15 million. Same with D'Lo. Like, they would probably just waive him at that point and just say, hey, go find another team before the playoffs. AD is the one that, if you don't handle it correctly over the next 2 months, that it could, it could be a huge damper on your roster building around Cooper in these early years if you don't get that right.
Lots of things going against them in that sense. So we'll be here documenting all of them. We'll be following whatever the Mavs end up doing. So we'll be here 5 days a week and more, covering every single post game and all that. Go check out all the great shows we've been doing this week. Thanks so much for listening to Locked on Mavs.
Peace out.
Boom. Rev up those tanks.
Feels so weird being